So I could go next? Okay, great. Thank you. I just want to do what's right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for scheduling today's hearing on the review of fiscal year 2024 administration budget, request for federal maritime transportation programs, and implementation of the Ocean Shipping Reform Act of 2022. Well, that was a mouthful. And I want to congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, on being appointed chairman of the subcommittee. Look forward to working with you and finding as much common ground on a bipartisan basis as possible. I look forward to hearing from Chair Maffei of the Federal Maritime Commission, or FMC, and Administrator Phillips of the Maritime Administration, or MERIT as we call it, on the President's budget request and their agency's priorities for the upcoming year. I'm particularly eager to hear from the FMC about its implementation of the Ocean Shipping Reform Act, which passed out of this subcommittee last Congress before becoming law, and how its new authorities will help maintain a resilient and efficient supply chain. I want to remind us it passed in a bipartisan fashion. As the federal agency tasked with ensuring fairness in international shipping, the FMC has key authorities which allow it to safeguard transparent and equitable maritime commerce. As the recent supply chain issues have demonstrated, stability in international shipping is integral to a strong economy. During the COVID-19 pandemic, weaknesses in our supply chain system were amplified as landside port congestion and unfair shipping practices by foreign ocean carriers led to backlogs and price increases, which certainly contributed to inflation. The reforms in our bill strengthen the FMC's authority to investigate unfair ocean shipping carrier fees and facilitate the efficient movement of cargo through U.S. ports. I'm proud to say that since the passage of the Ocean Shipping Reform Act, vessel congestion at ports has decreased dramatically, and the FMC has refunded over $700,000 in undue charges by carriers, or should I say unfair charges. Further, the FMC is currently undertaking a rulemaking aimed at ensuring that exporters are given fair access to cargo space. It is important that the FMC is sufficiently funded so that it can properly carry out these reforms, which will greatly benefit American businesses and the American consumer. I look also forward to learning about Merit's plans to revitalize the American maritime industry, from ports and infrastructure to shrinking U.S. flagged fleet to the dwindling of available American merchant mariners. Administrator Phillips and her team have done an excellent job continuing to pursue systemic change to the toxic culture that has resulted in sexual violence at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy and in the commercial maritime industry. Some of that congratulations is extended to also Lucinda Leslie for her work before the administrator came on. This issue is of the utmost importance, and while our work is not done, I commend both of your leaderships on efforts to make the maritime industry a safe and desirable workplace for all. Merit oversees vital grant programs that fund projects to modernize our infrastructure, including the Maritime Environmental and Technical Assistance Program, META, and the Port Infrastructure Development Program. The President's budget request includes $8.5 million for META, which is a $2.5 million increase over last year's budget. This supports the research, development, installation, and use of low-zero carbon technologies. These technologies are crucial for reducing harmful emissions that protect the environment, especially for port communities where air pollution is statistically worse. Included in this request for META is $1.5 million for the research and reduction of underwater noise, sound from vessels. Underwater noise disproportionately affects marine mammals, such as the whales. Last Congress, I worked with my colleagues across the aisle to include an increased authorization for META and language to address vessel sound. While this request is small, I am happy to see that Merit is prioritizing protecting whales from impact of vessels. The Port Infrastructure Development Program also supports decarbonization projects, which help reduce carbon footprint and build a more resilient, reliable marine transportation system. When we invest in renewable energy like electrification at ports, it creates jobs and adds resilience to disruptions that can occur with traditional fossil fuels. Not to mention, protecting the public's health. I'm particularly interested in how the Port's Infrastructure Development Program could support the Morro Bay offshore wind project in my district, building out potential port infrastructure to receive and transmit this energy, as well as creating laydown space for shoreside wind turbine staging and operations, is of critical importance that will require a significant investment. Thank you to our witnesses and attendees for their participation today. I look forward to a robust discussion about how the 2024 budget request can support investments in a stronger maritime industry. Mr. Chair, I yield back.